You guys will be the first group this summer into the lake, which is super cool.
Is it super cold? Yeah.
No, it is. Yeah. The water temperature yesterday was almost 80.
Wow.
So it's actually pretty warm, and I was pretty surprised by that. It rained a lot last week, and so I was expecting it to be a bit colder yet. But so they're working on recertifying the zip line for us tomorrow. So we're gonna do the zip line, and then the dunker is that green barrel hanging out there. Obviously, all things by choice, like we said, but it is one of the coolest things we do here, in my opinion. And be excited that you get to test it out for us. So, and by test,
that's why we signed the waivers, right?
Right. So the building to our left over here, or my left, yeah, is I had to think if you all were facing me or facing out. Is our habitat, but it also houses the centrifuge, also by choice, but one of the really cool things that we do. And it is not like G-Force out in our rocket park. It's not like the ride that you ride when you go to the carnival.
It's real.
It's real. Yeah. The sim bays are in here. I won't ruin that by going in before we go. And then also when we do flight physiology, will be in there. Your flight briefings will be in the classroom we were in. Unlike the other tweetups, you will actually have a crew trainer assigned to you for the whole time. The Aviation Challenge runs a little bit differently than Space Camp does in that your whole week is training for a set of scenarios in the sims. So the staff will be with you to do takeoff and landing, your air-to-air and air-to-ground combat, and then your mission in the morning. So you will actually have TK, who most of you should have met at the gate, will be with you your whole time here, which is kind of cool because you don't have to just see me in and out. You'll actually have staff member dedicated to just you. Lingo will be in and out with us as well, and he'll also be with us on the zip line tomorrow. And they'll be able to do kind of an aircraft tour. I don't know if I'm gonna. I got a confession time. Never been down the zip line. Never.
There's always first time.
Ton of times.
Say it with me. Challenge accepted.
So it hasn't. Yeah, it's crossed my mind.
Are you aware it's one of the cooler things we have here?
It is. I am.
Right.
I have a good healthy fear of heights.
It's not, but most of it's not.
You're going to jump off.
And the longer you do it, the
you're not
less
there
high
long.
it is.
Yeah, right? You're not there long until zoom, you're going into the line. I haven't discounted it. It might be a fun experience for me to do it with a group of friends rather than, So we'll see.
We are your friends.
We are. You are, yes. So we'll see how that goes. Today, all day, we will be down here. We won't be inside most of the time, so we won't have to worry about the heat, which is super nice because it's hot outside. Welcome to Aviation. Then,
better than 65 degrees in my life.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
Yep. Or June like last year.
It was warm.
It was hot.
It was ridiculous. I'm afraid that it's going to be that way this year. Tomorrow, we will spend about 3 hours up at Space Camp, so we'll do a tour of the Space Camp facility, which is a little strange. We're going to do it kind of opposite. We do the Space Camp tweetups. We will have some museum and gift shop time, and then we'll do lunch up there as well. I do have great news and not so great news about tomorrow's schedule. So, astronaut Hoot Gibson is a dear friend of all of ours. He is also an expert witness on a case right now. And he did not get off of the stand in time yesterday to make it back this weekend. So Hoot will not be in. However, I have a very cool replacement. Nobody is as cool as Hoot. Okay, let's just get that. But he's a former Aviation Challenge graduate. He's also a Hall of Fame member, and he's also a test pilot. So he's going to come out and talk about his cool test pilot skills. I'll get you guys a complete bio this afternoon and bring it down. Hoot is very apologetic and owes us big time. So the next time that Hoot is in town, I will be sure to notify all of you, and we will go have a beer with astronaut Hoot Gibson. Okay? Okay. So,
Hey, I got to fly back down here.
Some things are worth it.
We'll Skype it if we have to. Yeah, we'll make it work. So
You'll pick us up, right?
He is extremely upset. It was just entirely out of his control. So that is my not so good news, but it'll still be
demand
cool.
a refund.
Can we get a sub?
It's more informal.
It is, and I am heartbroken. I feel bad when you've got an astronaut. It's like,
Just
I'm
admit it,
so
he went to the
sorry.
SpaceX launch.
Yeah.
That's where he really
He's
is.
angling for
Yeah,
a
do
job.
you get like a special footage of that?
I'm
You want to be able to
gonna
hear
watch
it?
it in the morning.
It's really early.
3:55 a.m.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah, 3:55 Central
4
Time.
a.m.
Where's
Oh,
it
I
launching
got my
at?
computer, I'm gone.
Oh, there you go. See, there you go.
Where's it launching at?
Kennedy.
Kennedy.
Okay.
Yeah. If you are here in June, if anybody comes back for the 30th anniversary, Hoot is being inducted into the Space Camp Hall of Fame. So he will be here all that weekend. We're having a rogue tweet up. You know, a few of the former tweet up folks are coming back to kind of do their own thing. So you all are welcome to attend any of that if you're interested, especially those of you who are close by. Hoot will be here as well, so big,
You know, maybe get a plane or something.
you know, I'm just
Fly
saying.
up to Wisconsin.
It's a long flight, a small plane. What are you talking about? That's a small plane.
Yeah.
Everybody can get there really fast.
There we go.
Single engine prop.
Oh, all right.
This is the F-14, so that was on the set of Top Gun. It was just kind of in the background. It actually didn't fly, one of them, but we ended up getting it. It took too hard of a landing, and the landing gear.
Oh.
So, yeah, so they rated it not safe anymore, and so somehow we got a hold of it. It was pretty cool. We have a F-16 Fighting Falcon, is its kind of official name, but all the pilots call it the Viper. So, if you're a pilot, you can call it the Viper. But it's actually a tester. You can see it's a dual cockpit. Normally F-16 is just a single cockpit fighter, but it's a lightweight fighter. All these planes, the F-14 kind of came about after the Vietnam War. We learned that we needed a high maneuverable kind of type fighter. The F-4 was big and fast, but we needed a more maneuverable fighter. They tried to, you'll see the Aardvark back when we head over to the thing, but the Aardvark was supposed to be kind of that perfect for the Air Force supersonic bomber, and then a nice tactical fighter kind of as well, though the Aardvark was it was more tailored to the Air Force, and they tried to add a couple things in to make it for the Navy, and Navy's like, we're not having it. And so they instead went with this, which uses the same engines. It's very large for a carrier plane, but that enabled it to carry the Phoenix missile, which is an extremely long-range air-to-air missile that can shoot over 100 miles. Though we learned later on, as we kept progressing, that we don't really need too much air superiority as much as we need an air-to-ground fighters, multi-role, and that's why they eventually got replaced by the F-18s. And the F-16s kind of replaced the Air Force's F-4s along with the F-15s. But I'm going to keep walking up this way. The F-14's just got crazy awesome technology. If you see like just the shape of the fuselage, that itself creates like 40 to 60% of the lift rather than the wings, which is very good for carrier takeoffs and landings. The F-16's seats are inclined at 30 degrees so the pilots can take more G's. They found this to be a bit excessive, so most of the later aircraft are only about 20 degrees. This is a scale model X-30. It was supposed to be kind of like the shuttle, but it was supposed to be able to take off from any airfield, almost kind of get up into low Earth orbit. It never really made it past, I think, just kind of the scale model of it. We have a couple drones down there. They would go and shoot them up, but F-14. Carrier landings in general are extremely, I was reading about some of those. It's 2 seconds, the steam catapult launches them from 0 to 165 in like 2 seconds to get them enough speed to get up out of there. And then coming down for the landing, there's the tail hook in the back. Of course, it's going to grab, ideally the third wire, there's 4 wires to grab, but that's going to slow them down from 150 knots, which is like roughly like 160 to 170 miles an hour, to 0 in 2 seconds. We have a really nice volleyball court. Have to have a volleyball court. You have to. It's very cliche. That's why it's exactly. It's a nice low netting, so you feel really tall when you're up there, no matter your size. Exactly. I bet you could reach the top of the net, so anybody can spike. It makes everybody feel real good. These are our man trailers, our little offices. The other one's haunted and falling apart, so we don't really go in there as much. But they used to be simulators for, say, a bomber. It's like B-52s or something like that. Big here is our only Russian plane that we have. I think it's pretty interesting because it's kind of it's painted in the Siberian tundra, but it's just extremely basic kind of aircraft. Though it did really well against some F-4 Phantoms, which we had in Vietnam, just because it's very maneuverable. That sort of stuff. Not supersonic, but it was kind of made to take out bombers. Kind of turned into a multi-role to do bombs, guns, air-to-air fighting, all that sort of stuff. Cool. We're just giving a quick briefing. We have a Harrier there as well. The Harrier is just awesome because the Harrier just goes straight up. Movie like True Lies and everything. So True Lies is a little bit false.
Well, first of all, Arnold wouldn't fit in there.
Yeah, exactly. Arnold wouldn't fit in there. You have to be 5'7", so it's extremely tight quarters within the Harrier. But also the girls like hanging on to the outside. Thank you. Outside of that nose and everything, there's so much intake coming in that big Pegasus Rolls-Royce engine that creates so much thrust that, yeah, I don't know if she would be able to really hold on. So it's exactly. They can't hover for too long. It's mainly they have to get up. They can kind of get up going, start moving forward to create the lift over the wings.
Now we're not going to be able to trust any movies.
What is that?
Now we're not going to be able to trust any movies.
I know.
I hate to break it to you.
It's rough. I know. In Top Gun, they called the MiG-28. MiG-28 was actually the T-38 militarized version, so it's an F-5. F-5 Freedom Fighter. They called it a MiG-28. No MiGs are even numbers. They like their odd numbers. So.